Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into something today that's, well, kind of all around us all the time, but we rarely actually think about it. Light. Or maybe more to the point, the lack of it.
Yeah, light pollution.
Exactly. We're going to uncover just how big of a deal light pollution really is.
You know, a lot of people, when they think about pollution, they think of like smog or something, something you can actually see in the air, something you can smell. Light pollution is different. It's almost like it's the absence of something, It's the disappearance of darkness. And it's having some really big effects, way bigger than just not being able to see the stars.
So we've got some excerpts today from Is Artificial Light Poisoning the Planet? We've got the Darkness Manifesto by Johan Eklöf, and an article called Why We Need to Make the World a Darker Place. And we really want to figure out how artificial light is impacting, well, everything, the natural world, ourselves, all of it. And the crazy thing is, while we were reading all this, just how much the world has changed because of light pollution, It's kind of mind-blowing.
It really is. Think of it like a volume knob for the night sky. That's basically what the Bortle scale is. It measures how much light pollution there is. And because of all the light pollution, there are very, very few people nowadays who ever actually seen a truly dark sky. Like, they can't even see the Milky Way. It's like a piece of our heritage, that's just fading away.
Oh, totally. And there are so many people out there who, if they saw a really dark sky for the first time, they'd be like, wait, what? Is there something wrong with me? Did somebody drug me?
Yeah.
And it's not even just stargazing, right? You know that story about the earthquake back in 1994 in Los Angeles?
Oh, yeah, when the power went out and everybody thought aliens were landing.
Yes.
They were seeing the Milky Way for the first time.
You were seeing the Milky Way. They were calling 911 because it was so dark they could actually see the night sky, and they thought it was something to be afraid of.
Can you imagine that? The Milky Way, like a source of wonder, for like all of history, and people are calling the police because they think it's like an alien invasion or something.
It just shows you how disconnected we've become from natural darkness. And Eklöf was talking about how this like industrial light, this huge explosion of artificial light since the late 1800s, it's happened so fast. In terms of like the planet and evolution and all that, it's like we flipped a switch overnight and nobody had time to adapt, especially other species.
And you're right, we see this most dramatically probably with insects. Some research suggests that like insect biomass is down 75%, and light pollution is a huge part of that. It's really messing them up. Like take moths, for example.
Right, they're attracted to light.
Right, exactly. We've all seen it. But it's not just that they're attracted to the light. It actually messes with their navigation. They've evolved over millions of years to navigate by the moon, which is this like really dim light source, and now all of a sudden you have this like street light that's like a million times brighter.
Yeah, and it's funny because when we were reading that section about mass die-off, I was like, well, that's good, right? Like, less bug splatters on my windshield. But then I thought about it for 2 seconds, and I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's not even just that they get disoriented. Like, light pollution can mess with their mating rituals. It can throw off their internal clocks, and it can even like overload their senses to the point where they basically die.
It's like sensory overload to the max.
To the max.
For bugs.
Yeah. And Eklöf actually uses this example of the cabbage moth, which uses like specific scents to find other cabbage moths to mate with.
Yeah, romantic.
Right, exactly. But when there's light pollution, those scents get all messed up and then they can't find each other.
No more romance for the moths.
No more moth romance, which, no more moths.
Yeah.
And that just shows you like how interconnected everything is.
Yeah.
Right? You mess with one little thing.
It's a domino effect.
It's a chain reaction, yeah. And when you look at satellite pictures of Earth at night, you can literally see the planet glowing. That's kind of a scary thought when you really think about it. And it's not just insects. This constant light messes with the circadian rhythm, like the natural 24-hour clock of a ton of different species.
So it's not even just the light, it's that it's happening at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would be like somebody shining a flashlight in your eyes every time you're about to fall asleep.
Yeah, that's why I wear a sleep mask.
There you go. So you get it.
Well, sometimes. So, like, migratory birds, they use the stars to navigate when they fly south for the winter, but all this artificial light just totally throws them off. They end up in the wrong places. Sometimes they even crash into buildings.
Yeah. Or like baby sea turtles.
Oh, tell me about the turtles.
So they hatch on the beach at night, right? And they're supposed to use the light of the moon to find the ocean.
Right.
But because of all the city lights, they end up going the wrong way.
Oh, no. to the Cheesecake Factory.
Right. And they end up lost and confused and, they die.
That's so sad.
And sometimes we even try to use light, with good intentions, but it ends up backfiring.
Oh, like what?
Like in New Zealand, they have this really cool insect called the weta.
The weta.
Yeah. And they were trying to protect these wetas from predators by installing all these lights, but it turns out that wetas are super sensitive to light.
Oh no, so they were making them easier for predators to find.
Exactly. It's like they were trying to put out a fire with gasoline.
Oh, the weta. Poor little guys. And it's like we think we can just control nature, like, oh, we'll just put some lights up and everything will be fine. But it doesn't always work that way.
No, it definitely doesn't. And it's a good reminder that we're not exempt from the rules of nature either. Light pollution, it doesn't just impact the planet and the animals, it affects us too.
Yeah, we like to think we're so special, right? Like, we've got our cities and our technology, but turns out we're still animals. Who knew?
Right, still animals. And we've got this one hormone, melatonin. You've probably heard of it. It's kind of a big deal.
Melatonin, yeah, I've heard of it.
So melatonin, it's what regulates our sleep-wake cycle. It helps boost our immune system, even affects our metabolism. But here's the thing. Melatonin is super sensitive to light, especially the blue light that comes from our phones or computers, even a lot of those energy-efficient light bulbs.
So we're basically bathing in fake daylight 24/7.
Pretty much, yeah. And our bodies just weren't made for that. We evolved over millions of years to be in sync with the natural rhythms of day and night. And when we mess with that balance, well, there are consequences.
Yeah, no kidding. Remember that part we read about night shift work and how it's linked to all sorts of health problems?
Yeah, like breast cancer, for example. That was pretty eye-opening.
It's crazy to think that something as simple as light could have such a big impact on our health.
I know. And we're really just starting to understand how much it affects us long term.
Yeah.
All that messed up melatonin production from being exposed to too much light at night, it's not good.
So are we doomed? Is that what you're saying?
No, not doomed. We're not saying that.
Yeah.
It's not like we have to go live in caves or anything.
Okay, good. I don't look good in caveman chic.
Right. There are ways to design our environments to be healthier. Like, take that hospital in Sweden, the Karlstad Central Hospital. They redesigned their lighting system to mimic natural light patterns, so it's like warmer and dimmer in the evenings.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and it's had really positive results, both for the patients and the staff.
It's like they finally realized, hey, maybe 24/7 artificial daylight wasn't the best idea.
Exactly. But it's more than just our physical health that suffers when we lose darkness. We lose something, deeper than that.
Yeah, like we forget what it's like to just look up at the stars and feel small and insignificant.
Exactly. For most of human history, people have looked up at the stars with this sense of awe and wonder. It's where we got our myths and legends, our sense of place in the universe. And now a lot of people don't even know what they're missing. It's like trading in this incredible tapestry of light and color for a blurry, faded photograph.
And it's not just about the stars themselves, right? Like we're drawn to darkness in other ways too. Have you noticed how popular darkness tourism is getting?
Oh, totally. People are traveling to these remote places just to experience true darkness.
Yeah, it's like they're craving that connection to something bigger than themselves, something that all the lights and noise of modern life have kind of drowned out.
Like a primal instinct.
Yeah.
Even in our everyday lives, we seek out those little pockets of darkness, like a dimly lit restaurant or a campfire under the stars.
It's cozy.
It is. There's this sense of peace, of intimacy that you just don't get when you're surrounded by bright light all the time.
It's weird how we always talk about darkness like it's, nothing. Like it's just the absence of light.
Right. Like darkness itself doesn't have its own qualities and characteristics.
Exactly.
Just like saying that silence is just the absence of sound. But we all know that silence can be, really powerful, just like darkness.
Yeah.
Think about the words we use to describe darkness, like velvety or enveloping or intimate. Those aren't just neutral words,
No, they're kind of sexy.
They are. They evoke all these emotions and feelings. And when we try to get rid of darkness completely, I think we lose touch with a part of ourselves,
Yeah, like that part of us that finds peace and quiet in the dark, that connection to something bigger than ourselves when we look up at the stars. Remember that quote we read? Something like, darkness is a pause from all the craziness of the world. It's like visual silence, a primal experience that we've kind of lost in our super illuminated modern world.
It's true, though. It's like we need that balance, that back and forth between light and dark for our minds, our bodies, everything.
Totally. But the good news is we can actually do something about it. We don't have to all go live in the woods or anything.
Right, we're not saying get rid of all the lights.
Although that would solve it, wouldn't it?
It would solve it.
Okay, so maybe not all the lights, but what can we do? I mean, I'll admit, I'm guilty of scrolling on my phone in bed, even though I know that blue light is the worst thing for my sleep.
Well, start small. Turn off the lights when you leave a room. Use dimmer bulbs. Try those warmer color temperatures for your lamps.
Oh, you mean like those smart lights that change color?
Yeah, exactly. And for outdoor lights, you can get those shielded ones that direct the light down instead of just blasting it everywhere.
Oh, right. So the light's not just going up into space.
Exactly.
And I was thinking maybe we could even start a movement in our communities to become dark sky communities. Imagine stargazing parties, everyone outside actually seeing the Milky Way. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be amazing. It's about reclaiming the night, not just for us, but for all the creatures that need darkness to survive.
So we got to be more mindful about how we use light, because darkness isn't the enemy. It's just a different kind of light, right? It lets us see things we couldn't see before.
Exactly. A world with a little more darkness is a world with a lot more to see.
I like that. Well, that was awesome. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the surprisingly fascinating world of light pollution.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And remember, next time you find yourself under a truly dark sky, take a moment to just soak it all in. You might be surprised by what you discover. Until next time, keep looking up and maybe turn down those lights a little bit. Yeah.